Hey everybody, welcome back to Dishing Tea with D. I just got something in my eye. I don't know what's going on. Okay. How's everybody doing today? I believe we are Wednesday. I don't know. My days always end up mixed up. Yeah, we're Wednesday. So welcome to this fabulous Wednesday. If it's fabulous for you. So today, again, there has been additional information from the last time, well, since yesterday when I did um, the Carmelo Anthony updates. So we are gonna kind of go on that and then probably switch into another topic if I have time. If not, then I'll come back later and we'll talk about something else. Um, so let's get into it. Um, as you know, they're allowing Frisco ISD overturn the expulsion and is allowing Carmelo Anthony to graduate. He's not going to be able to participate in the graduation ceremony, but he will be able to graduate. Um, and they were stating it was because of certain activists and things like that. Well, one major activist that has been representing Carmelo Anthony during this time has been the NGAN, the Next Generation Action Network. So they've been really pushing Carmelo's innocence or freedom. I'm not sure what they're really advocating for them, but I know they're the ones that are initially kind of giving him the security. So, because next GAN has their own little security detail network or whatever that they do. So this is kind of like what this is going to be about, basically on who's advocating on behalf of Carmelo Anthony, because these activists had such a big influence on the decision of the Frisco ISD. Um, so again, we're gonna look at Sarah Fields' post. She's the one who's been really on this case. So this was actually just when I got it, it was just a few hours ago, but I guess she put it out last night. So this is another exclusive of hers. According to a new open record response from TXDPS, our Texas Department of Safety, Public Safety, NGAN has been engaged in active criminal activity from the beginning. Give, Send, Go, and Frisco ISD aligned with criminal activity. So, again, like we're saying, they were using that Give, Send, Go fundraising money. They were using it towards what they considered a security house, I guess, because they were getting so many threats and things like that. They needed a safer location. Um, they needed security. So, NGAN is providing that security for them, but we'll get into more of that security detail later on. So anyway, many of you may remember the video Dominic Alexander with the Next Generation Action Network, a felon posing as Carmelo's advocate, leading him with his own security team from the jail to a secure vehicle. So I did a video back then when that's when they first lowered the bail from 1 million to 250, and so he was being escorted with Dominique Alexander and a few other people from his team from the jailhouse or courthouse, jailhouse. I don't know how it's all. I don't know the layout of their system down there, but and then to a vehicle, a secure vehicle, and then rode off. So the footage was proudly filmed and posted after Carmelo Anthony was released on bond. Um, it says POV with Carmelo Anthony. I gave the aggressive reporter that look. Once we got him into the car and she gave me that nod, said, "Add a gun threat." she knew at that point I was pissed. Move, lady. So it was some lady that a lady who who's asking questions like, we the public want to know, like, what was he doing with this knife on school campus, blah 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 blah. She was really trying to get information and, kind of doing her job, but in the sense that, he wasn't going to answer any questions and stuff like that. Him, as what he is considered a security guard, was trying to, keep that away and whatever whatever. But just from that little interaction, like, it really upset him in a manner that he was pissed. Adigan Threat is named Director of Security and Protocol according to NGAN's website, run by Dominique Alexander, which he is, and we'll see that later. However, according to a newly obtained response to a request sent to the Texas Department of Public Safety, Adigan Threat is not licensed as a private investigator or security guard, nor does he have any licensings overseen by the Texas Private Security Board, PSB, nor has he ever applied for a license. So if we remember, um, Dominic Alexander has a pretty long rap sheet. Um, it's extensive. So it goes on with assaults and abuse and so on and so forth. And now what she it sounds like what she is saying is that now the head of his security is also um not licensed, so they're continuing, like, he's advocating for, because he made a video stating that, he'll be the first one to admit his rap sheet, because, like I said, it's extensive. So now he's supposed to be like a reverend or a minister, I think. So a minister, I believe. I think, a minister, I think. So he was stating that, he'll be the first to admit his wrongdoings and blah 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 and so on and so forth. But from what she is saying, that he's still committing, you know, il- these illegal activities. I mean, obviously, if you are this minister and you're a changed man, you're gonna not commit any more crimes. You are gonna, do everything in a legitimate way, is what she's trying to say. So it is not about, you know, it is really not about history. It's really about changing. And apparently he hasn't changed to become this advocate that he's trying to portray himself to be. And yeah, that's just crazy. However, according to a newly obtained, okay, so Attic Threat is not a private as private investigator or security guard. So we already know that you can't be doing that. According to NGAN, they have their own internal security team with training, and Dominic Alexander has stated that they are providing security for Carmelo and his family. And then that's what some of that fundraising, Send Me Go fundraising, was to cover his legal and security. So, it's going around. Um, Additionally, NGAN is required by law to display its Texas private security license on its website. NGAN is also supposed to maintain a certificate of insurance and a surety bond on file with the Private Security Board at all times. According to Section 1702.123 of Texas Occupations Code, Adigan Threat also has a history of assault on a family member, unlawful carrying a weapon, and marijuana possession. Um, it is so again, he is, ex criminal, or supposed to be an ex criminal, and yet you are stating that and positioned at a place as a head of security with no licensing. So again, you are continuing to do illegal activity. Just saying. I have reached out to Adigan Threat for comment, but have received no response. We are currently in the process of filing a complaint with the Texas DPS after interviewing several licensed officers in the state. The consensus is the Texas takes these violations very seriously. The Anthony family has been receiving security services under false pretenses. Wow, that was a lot. So that's pretty much what she's saying. So from get go, Carmelo, Frisco ISD, pretty much this NGAN and Dominic Alexander, they're all kind of in with this whole fundraising, Send Me Go. Now, whether Send Me Go is really knowledgeable what's going on, but then again, I know GoFundMe didn't want to terminated their fundraising, so that's why they went to Go Send Me or Go whatever that Send Me Go whatever money. Um, so they're capable of denying them, the access to or allowing them fundraising for these types of actions. So if they've already stated that they were getting a new house with the money, so they had to already make one amend or provision to that to their fundraising thing, saying it was just for legal fees when it wasn't, when that's not what they were only using the money for. And we all know that if you're doing fundraising, you need to let the public know that what you're raising the money for and what it's really going to. You can't just say it's going to this and then you start sending into this and this and this. um so again, this family raised well more over probably $500,000 and said it was for legal fees pretty much. Now then they backtracked and said it was for legal and security, then they backtracked and said it was for legal security and then a security house and then so on and so forth, but we'll go from there. So here she and then she just kind of adds, I'll go ahead and share the screen real quick. So as you can see, she just kind of puts it in, and he's right there. He's throughout the whole entire video. Um, and then he's standing. That's that Adigan threat. That's that Dominique Alexander. So as you can see, he's there. She just has picture of the things, but we'll go and look at the website ourselves just to kind of see. And she puts, she went in and did grab their um, criminal history. And some of these are pretty recent, up until like 2 years ago, last year or something like that. So I mean, they're still recent and they're still committing these kind of activities. And I'm not saying that Carmelo Anthony's family is aware or alert of what's going on, but if they're not, they need to be. And if they are, then they need to separate themselves and go about it a different way, because this whole thing situation is making the whole, that side of the case like look very bad, from the advocate to Carmelo Anthony to their family to everybody. So this is not a good look. This is totally not a good look. So we are, and then we're going to switch it to this one. So as you can see on their website, this is the NGAN staff. You can go to their website and it is pretty much all there. See, he's Minister Dominic Alexander, President and CEO. And then you have Vice President. And then down here, you have the Adequate Threats, Director of Security and Protocol. So, again, they do have them listed here on the website as Adequate Threat, Director of Security and Protocol with no licensing. I haven't been able to find a certificate or license or anything um, on the website. So, again, this is, and it looks like a lot of the stuff that they do advocate. The last thing I wouldn't say major thing that they did, but I mean, they were advocating throughout the George Floyd situation and things like that. So it's just see George Floyd Justice and Policing Act. So it looks like they try to stay on high profile cases pretty much, and it looks like they try to monetize off of them. You know, I'm not saying I don't know what they were doing over here and what their stand was on this point, but as far as this point, I in this case and their stand on this case, I have a feeling that they have to know that he admitted, he confessed to this heinous crime, and you're still advocating for him. And it says scroll down to the donation link and it goes to Act Blues footer of the website, Porsche Man of the NGAN website. Because I know it did go. I did click on it earlier. Yeah, it did take me to a page. I just don't remember what it looked like. Okay. Currently accepting any donations. Thank you for your interest making a donation at this time. Platform paid for by actblue.com and not authorized by candidate or candidate committee. Contributions or gifts to ActBlue are not deductible as charitable contributions for federal income tax purposes. ActBlue is not responsible for candidate or committee content on this page, nor any communications made by candidates or committees. ActBlue does not send emails or text messages or make telephone calls on behalf of any. Huh. So, yeah, that's crazy. I mean, with all the backlash, I would hope they would do something. Okay, how do I get back? So yeah, I really didn't look at that earlier. Thanks for making me go back. Democrat fundraiser. Mm. And I mean, with everything going on, I'm sure that they're not trying. I mean, I'm sure Sarah's poking around, and yes, not for nonprofit, but Sarah is really on their tail in regards to the kind of operation that they're running. Again, she's doing a good job about keeping up to date on some of this stuff. Again, I'm not saying when it comes to Carmelo Anthony, yes, he was a good student, but yes, he did do something extremely wrong. And, you do something wrong, there needs to be some type of consequence for it. And it just seems like every which way that, uh, it looks like he is getting you know, he had a huge bell, and I understand the bell needed to be lowered. Whether it needed to be lowered that much is another topic. Now he's on house arrest, so it's like, okay, he gets to continue to, sort of live his life, continue to somewhat be a kid, be at home, play video games all day, and see his family, eat cereal, watch movies, and basically eat, sleep, and shit in his own place. Excuse my language, but that's and so it's like then he's being able to graduate, so it's like every which way that he should be having some type of reprimand and consequence for his actions, like they're just not doing it. They're just like turning the other way and saying and allowing that and saying what he did was okay. Now, again, I know a lot of people were kind of talking about like the whole fundraising money and stuff like that, whether they really needed it. I mean, who knows? We don't know their life. I mean, going to their Facebook, looking at their pictures on their Facebook, their lifestyle was pretty above the average family's, lifestyle. I mean, they did several, it looks like trips and cruises, and um, Carmelo Anthony did get a Lexus for his birthday and things like that. So um, let's go ahead and where's the I mean, I think I have it as a I mean, if you go to his dad page, mom gets a brand new car. But the thing is, a lot of people are saying like these brand new cars, they're getting a car every, year. They're going to cruise on every year. You gotta understand, cars. Dad was a dealership. He worked 11 years at this dealership. Ralph Seller's Motor Company. He was there for about a good while. He was a floor manager. So those type of people estimate, if you kind of look on Indeed, those are always not the greatest to go by, but it's anywhere between 150 to $200,000 a year he's making. And you know that he's obviously making commissions and whatever. So that can fluctuate. But still, the benefits of being a car dealership is that you get really good deals on cars. So that's kind of, you know, he's not paying the same amount as everybody as we normal people are paying for these types of vehicles. So that's different. But as far as like the cruises and the trips, I seen that he went to Disney. Now I don't know if that was Disneyland or Disney World, but either way, I mean, well, it is a big difference, but I mean, you're already looking at a good 10 grand right off the back for just a week. Cruises easy. I mean, from the cruise that they were, thanks, Portia, man. You're the bestest. But yes, cruises also, especially I think they went on a Virgin Voyage cruise. Um, yeah, you can go for a really good decent amount, anywhere between 3 to 5 thousand, depending on the length of the trip, whether it's 3, 5, 7 days long. But it looks like they had a really nice room. They had it looked like a balcony room. They had meals galore, so they might have had a dinner plan, but still those only cover for so much. So a lot of that, and then he's talking about $2,000 bottle of wine or champagne. So I mean, that was another easy, $10 to $20,000 vacation that they had right there, right off the back. That's not with any of the additional luxuries that they were spending, talking about limousines and things like that. So I mean, it all goes. Um, I wonder where's the one with the Lexus. So here he is with the Lexus. Um, can I zoom in? So I mean, it's just. I mean, these are very expensive gifts that you get for kids. I certainly didn't get a Lexus for when I got my driver's license or for a birthday or anything. Um, I was lucky to get something within the decade. It might not try to stay within that 10 years, I mean, can we go to 9 years? It's not quite 10. Can we have that 9? Can I stay within the decade? He's like, nah. Sorry, but this kid got a Lexus. But again, that is the luxury of having a dad as a car dealership, as a car salesman. So again, and that kind of like the balance there, can't really be too hard, but that is an extravagant car for a 16-year-old. And I think, any parent, I mean, even as a car, I mean, what's wrong with the nice brand, brand new, maybe Toyota Corolla or Camry? Like, you want to get your son a Lexus, And then if you look at some of the background, the houses are really nice. So you already know that they're in a nice neighborhood, getting these GMCs and Lexuses. So I mean, again, this dad is obviously well. I mean that estimate between 150 to 200,000 is not far off of. By the way, that means that they're living, probably even making more since he's a manager, because I'm sure he's getting commission off of everybody else that he's managing. I don't know how the car dealerships works and how well, and how their, you know, money making tier goes. I mean, is it a pyramid scheme like everything else? I mean, what else? He just happens to be really good at it, apparently. Um, So then going back to this whole whether he should graduate, I know there's a lot of people who are still upset about the whole thing. Let's stop sharing that. So I was kind of going back and trying to read over like the school handbook, the code of conduct, and frankly, the school has the authority to keep the expo. I mean, they have the authority to do it, to continue to the sentencing of he's expelled and not allowing him to graduate. Again, we're not saying that if they do expel him and he goes to an alternate school, because then again, he's not going to be allowed back into school because he's a safety concern to the school. So anywhere if he was to change school districts, they're going to have to look at that as well. So he's not even going to be able to go to school. He's going to have to go to an alternate school. But at that, it's like if you're not taking classes now, you're not in an alternative school now, you're currently doing nothing at home, you're absolutely showing no kind of promise to your future, even though after what you did, it's like you have no remorse. Where, like, where do we draw the line here? Like, where do we draw the line? So the thing is like the first thing, you had a weapon at school, a knife, which is clearly against the school, the school handbook, the school code of conduct. And then you were transporting that weapon. So now you have it on a school bus. So even transportation could also get you and not want you. Like the school transportation, like you're transporting it from one school facility to another school facility, and then to a school event where there's multiple, where there's a where there's multiple people and multiple children and multiple kids and adults and faculty and staff. So that's the first issue. So if you're not getting punished for just even having a weapon at school, then this whole thing is just wrong, because I don't even know what to say about that. If you can't even like like he hasn't gotten in school suspension, he hasn't gotten suspended, he hasn't gotten nothing for just even bringing a knife to the school and transporting it from school to a school event, and then not upholding, not holding their parents responsible for it as well. Like you're responsible for your child. Like it makes you sign the handbook too, that you are aware that your child is not supposed to take these kind of um weapons to school. I'm like it clearly states like you cannot. I mean, the handbook is pretty long. It's about 122 pages, but it references throughout. And then you got to go through the handbook to see, like, what they can do to you when you do break one of those school rules. Um, and then you got to understand you're an athlete, so you're entitled to be held to a higher standard. So you're basically telling every other athlete, and not just athlete but any other just regular students at the school, that it is okay to bring a weapon because you are not going to be punished regardless whether you use the weapon or not. And it's so funny for those, a lot of those who took like firecrackers or um I think one of the what we read yesterday, one of the guys took a WWE belt to school on the graduation and they didn't even let him graduate after that. What, and it's like this kid took a knife to school, transported it on a school transportation bus to another school facility, which happened to be at a school sporting event. So why is there not even at least that minimal punishment for him? And then he uses that. Where's the assault? I mean, even though it wasn't a continuous bullying, he did bully him at the time, egging him on, like touch me, and see what happens. Touch me, see what happens. Touch me, see what happens, kind of thing. I mean, the assault. I mean, if you're not going to take it for manslaughter, murder, whatever, I mean, there has to be some type of consequences somewhere in between just the basic bringing the knife to school to the actual fact of the end factor of what happened, and that he took Austin Metcalf's life with that, and that was a weapon. So, and then to allow him to graduate with the rest of his class, like he should not be allowed to graduate. I admit, like to just postpone it. We're not just saying he's not going to graduate. He may not graduate now with the rest of his class, but this is like if he didn't pass science and he's got to take summer school, like that kid's not going to graduate with the rest of his class. You're going to make him graduate during summer when he graduates. He's going to have to repeat that class. So what's wrong in this case to do the same thing? If he's found innocent, you put him in his little JEP, whatever the alternate education system that y'all have for them, and let him graduate that way. Like y'all got to learn how to, like, I don't understand like why Frisco ISD is really like trying to take sides, and like this is showing like how all this is a money grab from everything, because somehow superintendent and all these other trustees that are on this, because these board of trustees have a say too. It's not just this Michael Waldrip, I think it's his name. Where did it go? You, Dr. Yeah, Michael Waldrip is the superintendent. So it's, I mean, you have the rest of the board. You have Dinette Davis, who is the president. You have Gopal Panangi, which is the vice president. Mark Hill, secretary. Stephanie Elad, Marvin Lowe, Keith Maddox, Sherry Salas. Somehow, some of these are connected all in a little cahoot with somebody, because, and that's not including that NGAN. Now that Carmelo Anthony is getting ready to turn 18, they're getting ready to ask for more money. So it's like, why do you need more money just because he's turning 18? Or now you're trying to get, what are you trying to get from this? And like, do you really think he's innocent in this situation? Or are you just playing the fact that this is becoming a well known case and you're trying to get your name back out there, not knowing that people like Sarah is going to do some background research on you, showing that you're not in this for the right reason? Because ultimately Carmelo Anthony did do something wrong and he does need to have some type of consequence for it. And this isn't and to make it a race factor on top of everything else is, it's even worse, because like y'all come so far to fight the fact that y'all want to be equal, and then when the world is trying to be equal in the opportunity that he did wrong and he needs to be punished, now all of a sudden it's like, no, you can't do it because now you want to bring out this inequality BS. Like, oh, it's just because we're black thing. I'm like, you can't, like, no, what's good for the good goose is good for the gander. Like, we're not gonna be doing that. Like, no, I don't know. No, we don't. No, no, no. Sorry. It's not. I'm not having it. Like, this is just ridiculous. And then I think he did a video, or not a video. I think NGAN actually, before we go there, let's go back to this, because I was looking up, because they had like what could be expulsion and what's an automatic expulsion, mandatory expulsion, and what's not a mandatory expulsion at the discretion. What's the discretion expulsion? And and regardless of either, if it falls under the discretion or not, like, I think expulsion is the way to go. And then they got to go through the whole process. It's like, what happened to this process? Like, where they have a little hearing that, the parent speaks out, and I know that it's to not have them expelled, but I really think the victim family should have a say in what goes on, you know, with this, because this, and even at this, the code of conduct is 44 pages long. So you need to tell me somewhere in here it does not say that that a confess stabber can continue. I mean, I don't understand what, like, the importance of graduation right now. Really, the importance of graduation right now. Like, maybe you should find the importance of like how you can help Austin Metcalf heal from this, or how can we make sure that this doesn't happen again. Not like how can we save this kid from what? What are we saving this kid from? Himself? Like, really, what, who, what, when, where, like, what is going on? What is going on? And and somehow this dad too, this dad is very Andrew, what's his name, um Andrew Anthony. He goes by Drew, he goes by Dre, I mean, or Andre or something like that. He goes by so many different aspects of his, like, types of his names, that I'm like, why? Like, if you go through like some of his things, it's like Dre, or I mean, some of these pictures, if you go back way back to where I think, if I'm not mistaken, I think they're from New Orleans or something like that. Like, there's a reason. I mean, there has to be a reason why he left over there to come this way. I mean, see, oh, right here, there, he was up for some kind of Armor All America game, I guess, back when he was. I don't know, but like, why are you going by Andre? And it's like, All America. So he was something too. So there's something about him, and he even this right here. I don't know. Was she like? And you can't pull nothing when you search for her name. Nothing comes up but like these cheerleaders and things like that. So I'm like, I don't know. I don't know. There's something. And Hayes is very like her last name Hayes. I don't know. There's just something about it where I think it has a connection with the school or something, but there's just so much with this case that when you read from one thing and link to another, it's just like opening another door and another door. And I'm like, I'm gonna let Sarah figure that out, because this already is ridiculous. And here's, oh, a floor manager at a car dealership in Frisco, Texas can expect to earn between 150,000 and 220,000 per year, according to Indy.com. This range can vary depending on factors like experience, dealership size, and specific responsibilities of the role. Obviously. And of course, I don't know if he gets paid salary, commission, and bonus. Floor managers may also receive commission based on sales performance or bonus pay, which can further increase their overall compensation. Salary expectations are generally based on experience and qualifications, so it's important. So you know he was making some money. So it's like, and mom was a stay-at-home mom with four kids. uh, With four kids. Karmelo Anthony, I think, was the oldest of his three sisters. So I'm like, this, like, mm-mm. I don't understand. There has to be some, like not even an ISS. Like, okay, first of all, you can't even be in your school, so you can't have ISS. You can't have detention. The only thing is suspension, and you can only be suspended for 3 days, or a week, or 5 days, or something like that. So it's like there's nothing else to to give him but to expel him, and and like, this is to all athletes. They couldn't get away with so much. This is basically what they're saying. Like, and then, oh, let's no. Let's go back, because some of the stuff I do want to read. I do want to read some of the stuff. Let's go back, because this is what kind of made me upset too. We're gonna go back and read this. Let's go back and read this. Present, and let's put this in presentation form. Please do. And I'm gonna share it, and we're gonna see what the district and the school says, that what the, how they handled their school. And there's little school thing. Let's see. Come on, get it up. Okay, so this is from this actual student handbook. Welcome to the new school year. Education is a team effort. Students, parents, teachers, and other staff members working together will make this a successful year. The Frisco ISD Student Handbook is general reference guide that is divided into two sections: parental rights and other important information for parents and students. No, unless otherwise noted, the term parent refers to the parent, legal guardian, or any person granted some other type of lawful control of a student, or any other person who has agreed to assume school related responsibility for a student. Okay, the student handbook is designed to align with law, board adopted policy, and the student code of conduct. A board adopted document intended to promote school safety and and an atmosphere for learning. School safety and an atmosphere for learning. The student handbook is not meant to be a complete statement of all policy, procedures, or rules and in any given circumstances. In case of conflicts between board policy, including the student code of conduct and any student handbook provision, the district will follow board policy and the student code of conduct. Therefore, parents and students should become familiar with the Frisco ISD Student Code of Conduct. To review the Code of Conduct, visit, okay, yes. Code of Conduct is here. I do have the Code of Conduct, though. Therefore, okay, state law requires that the code of conduct be prominently displayed, or maybe, okay. The student handbook is updated annually. However, policy adoption and revisions may occur throughout the year. The district encourages parents to stay informed of proposed policy changes by attending board meetings and reviewing communications, explaining changes in policy or other rules that affect student handbook provisions. The district reserves the right to modify the student handbook at any time. Notice the revisions will be provided as is reasonably practical. Although the student handbook may refer to rights established through law or district policy, it does not create additional rights for parents and students. It does not, nor is intended to, represent a contract between any parent or student and the district. A hard copy, yes, 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 is available. Yes, yes, yes. Rights and responsibilities of students. All students are entitled to enjoy the basic rights of citizenship recognized and protected by law for a person of their age and maturity. District schools shall foster a climate of mature respect for the rights of others. Each student is expected to respect the rights and privileges of other students, teachers, and district staff. Students shall exercise their rights responsibly in compliance with the rules established for orderly conduct of the district's educational program. The district's rules of conduct and discipline are established to achieve and maintain order in the school. Students who violate the rights of others or who violate district or school rules shall be subject to disciplinary measures designed to correct the misconduct and to promote adherence by all students to the responsibilities of citizens in the school community. Harassment of any nature is against the law and school policies. Students will be assigned appropriate consequences for such harassments. Student responsibilities for achieving a positive learning environment at school or school related activities shall include attending all classes daily and on time, being prepared for each class with appropriate materials and assignments, being properly attired, exhibiting respect toward others and school property, reading and reporting. Reading and supporting the programs and procedures are outlined in the student handbook and other materials. Okay, we are going on rights and responsibilities of parents. Through this plan, parents includes a single parent, legal guardian, or person having lawful control of the student. Parents have the responsibility to make every effort to provide for the physical needs of their child, discuss school rules and expectations for maintaining a safe and respectful environment for all students, be sure their child attends school regularly and promptly report and explain absences and tardies to school. Encourage and lead the child to develop proper study habits at home. Participate in meaningful parent teacher conversations. this to discuss. So basically, the the whole point is to keep them safe, like keep people safe. Rights of administrators, rights of and responsibility of teachers. Like it just goes on and on. Okay, then they get into that. I want to get into parent role in certain classroom and schools. Certain student will okay, he's definitely not military, so he's not an exception to anything. Regardless, I don't think even military is an exception to what he did. Absences. So this is what they were talking about yesterday. The absences where they need to stay 90% and they need to attend 90% of the semester and things like that. And we already know Carmelo already missed almost the whole semester, this whole last semester. So that is another thing. So why isn't he getting any kind of reprimand for that? It's like there isn't any kind of consequence to his actions here. These are all for his final credit. So and you have your academic dishonesty. Of course, I don't know if he ever plagiarized or anything. Of course, bullying, all grade levels. The district strives to prevent bullying in accordance with the district's policy by promoting a positive school culture, building healthy relationships between students and staff, encouraging reporting of bullying incidents, including anonymous reporting and investigating and addressing reported bullying incidents. Bullying is defined in the state law as a single significant act or a pattern. Let's repeat that. Bullying is defined as a state law as a single significance act or pattern of acts by one or more students directed at another student that exploits an imbalance of power and involves engaging in written or verbal expression through electronic means or physical conduct that has the effect or will have the effect of physically harming a student, damaging a student's property, or placing a student in responsible fear of harm to the student's person or a damage to the student's property. Again, bullying is defined in a state law as a single significant act or a pattern. Single significant act or a pattern. It's sufficiently severe persistence or persuasive enough that the action or threat creates an intimidating, threatening, or abusive educational environment for a student, materially and substantially disrupts the educational process of the orderly operation of a classroom or school, or infringes on the rights of the victim at a school. Okay, this didn't have anything to do with cyberbullying, so we're just going to go past that. Bullying is prohibited by the district and could include hazing, threats, taunting. See what happens, touch me, see what happens. That's taunting, teasing, confinement, assault, demands for money, destruction of property, theft of valued possessions, name calling, rumor spreading, as astrax okay, y'all gonna have to help me with that one because astraxism. The district will integrate into instruction research-based content designed to reduce bullying that is appropriate for student age groups. So threat basically touch me, see what happens. Like that's basically a threat. See what happens. Taunting. He continues to set that multiple times. It's like that's like a taunt. Like that's basically you're asking for somebody to to touch you. You're almost giving them permission to touch you. But anyway, and then they're just listing on what they implemented, the Stop It app and things like that. So let's see what else is in here. Trafficking, we're not going to get into that. Um, Now, again, I don't know what his background was at school. Like, people say that they knew him as a fighter. I'm not sure. I know that there was a previous incident that the school already had him kind of admitted to, but they didn't say his part of that kind of incident. So it was kind of left uncertain at that point. Um, but again, if he did have a history and they hadn't done anything up until now, it is pretty crazy. Again, disruption of school operations. Yeah, I would think that's the disruption of school operations. Um, Social events. School rules apply to all school social events. Guests attending these events are expected to observe the same rules as students, and a student inviting a guest will share responsibility for the conduct of his or her guest, just like the parents should, be responsible for Carmelo Anthony's conduct as well, since they are supposed to be responsible for their kid to promote safety of the school and for other students, right? Isn't that what they just said earlier? Okay, a student attending a social event will be asked to sign out when leaving before and the end of the event when not readmitted. Okay, so let's see. Personal counseling. I mean, there's just so much harassment, discrimination, threatening, intimidating, or humiliating. That's all considered harassment in general terms is conduct too severe, persistent, or pervasive that it affects a student's ability to participate in or benefit from an educational program or activity, creates an intimidating, threatening, hostile, or offensive educational environment, or substantially interferes with the student's academic performance. Examples of harassment may include, but not limited to, offensive or derogatory language directed at a person's religious beliefs or practices, accent, skin color, or need of accommodation, basically handicapped. Threatening, intimidating, or humiliating conduct, offensive jokes, name calling, slurs, or rumors, physical aggression or assaults, graffiti or printed material promoting racial, ethnic, or other negative stereotypes, other kinds of aggressive conduct such as theft or damage to property. Now, also, there have been alleged statements out there saying that was one of the reasons why he was under the tent was because he was known to have sticky fingers. You know, so I mean, because I've this has never happened in as far as I know that somebody ended up in an underneath another tent like this. But either way, okay, where it's not all about okay, no sexual so reporting procedures, investigative report, allegations of prohibited conduct, which includes stating violence, discrimination, harassment, and retaliation, will be promptly investigated. Huh, we'll see about that. Apparently, not stabbing and bringing a knife to on school campuses. Apparently, not that. I'm just saying, these are the facts. He brought a knife on school campus, transported it on school, through school transportation to a school event on another school, not a school, but another district property. Like, let's just call it for what it is, guys. Like, come on. Like, when like nowhere in there did I say he's because he was black. Like, this is not about race. This is all about NGAN is here for money because clearly this handbook and the law and his confession to the cop at the time that this happened is all, I mean, open and shut case pretty much. Like, um non-school materials from students. Students must obtain prior approval from the principal before selling, posting, circulating, or distributing 10 or more copies of written or printed material. Okay, that's something else from others. Pants and shoes. I'm assuming this is dress code. Um, what they can and cannot wear. electronic devices, this standards behavior, sponsor of student clubs are performing. So, sponsors of student clubs and performing groups such as band, choir, and drill and athletic teams may establish standards of behavior, including consequences for misbehavior that are stricter than those for students in general. That are supposed to be stricter than the students in general. Like, he's supposed to be held to a higher standard for what he did because he is a student athlete. If a violation is also a violation of the school rules, the consequences specified by the student code of conduct or by the board policy will apply in addition to any consequences specified by the organization's standards of behavior. So that means the organization itself should also implement some kind of consequence here, but nobody's implementing any kind of consequence for his action. Nobody. They completely they stay right here that he's supposed to be upheld to a higher standard. Not only is he supposed to get one reprimand, but he can also get another one from the organization. Not just from the school, but from the organization. So athlete, he should already like, why isn't he not like, really? Now this certainly injustice right here. Like, there is no justice right here, and this poor family lo- lost lost their child, like, is fighting for this. And it's not like he wants something bad to happen to Courtney. It's not like he want. It's like, but this kid is never going to learn if he's constantly getting Lexuses because he continues to apparently excel in athletics when he's supposed to be held to a higher standard when something happens. There is no consequence. So yes, I understand where, Austin Metcalf's dad Jeff is getting frustrated because there is none. There's no respect for his family. That's all it is. It's just pure respect. Like, there should, like, some type of consequence, some type, like, he needs to be held responsible and some type of an accountability, and not live, like he said, living at home playing video games in $1 million house. Just say offices and elections fees. Okay, we're gonna go past that. It just says what you need to do to become a senior, to graduate. Again, the minimum number of assignment. Okay, grading guidelines. Graduation requirements for a diploma. A student must meet the following requirements to receive a high school diploma from the district. Achieve passing scores on certain end of course assessments or approved substitute assessments unless specifically waived as permitted by state law. So I don't know if he's been able to take his end of the course exams, but he missed his entire last semester. So I doubt he was able to take any of these EOCs. So therefore, that is one that he probably hasn't done, at least not for this year. And remember, he needs at least English 1, 2, 3. It gives the requirements of what classes he needs. End of course assessments and exams are really, what do you call it? Their portion of the grade is really high. Like, so if you miss it, it's basically like missing it. You miss this exam, like, you're more than likely your grade's going to drop significantly. Complete the required number of credits established by the state and any additional credits required by the district. So he obviously has enough credits. Like they said, he probably has 23, 27. I think I forgot what the requirements is because they change so often, and then you have different tiers depending on your smartness, your capability of learning and keeping this information in your brain. So complete any locally required courses in addition to the courses mandated by the state law. Demonstrate proficiency as determined by the district in the specific communication skills required by the State Board of Education. And complete and submit a free application to the federal, the FAFSA and the TAT. Okay, that's basically college. Testing requirements. So basically, that is the requirements for a diploma. Foundation for Foundation Graduation Program. Every Texas public school will graduate under the Foundation Graduation Program. The Foundation Graduation Program features endorsements with the passive. Okay, so again, credits required. So we already know he has enough credits. Apparently, of course, it's just all about whether he has enough. If he has enough one credits, and if he's been in school the amount of time that you're supposed to be, that I think what was it, 90% of the time, for the semester. Harassment. Okay, we already did that. Um, do, do, do. And this wasn't really hazing. So we can't really. I don't want to get into something that's not really going to pertain to this. So, but I know this is, like I said, this was a long handbook. So this is probably why people don't really read the handbook. I mean, but then again, these are basic knowledge that, of course, you should be able to go to school and feel safe, because that isn't that their number one goal here, is to make sure they keep a safe environment for you to be able to educate yourself. Like, we're not worried about homework because he ain't even in class. And that's working together, encouraging your child to have high priority on education, and working with your child every day to make the most of the educational opportunities in school provides. Okay, parking. Okay, I mean, not worried about whether he had parking violation. I mean, that does play an effect too, because then he just shows that he just doesn't have respect for authority. But um, oh, this is a lot. I'm trying to find safety, student safety on campus. So here we go. Student safety on campus at school related events and in district vehicles, hence the bus, is a high priority of the district. Is it really? Is it really? Student safety on campus at school related events and in district vehicles is a high priority of the district. Again, I'm going to ask you, is it really? Student safety on campus at school related events and district vehicles is a high priority of the district. I know I'm sound like a parent, but geez Louise, is it really? Is it really? Catch the breath. Catch the breath. The cooperation of students is essential to ensuring school safety. Not if there is no consequence. Geez, because the next thing he's going to do, he's going to move up from a knife to a gun. And then how many other people is this happen to the next time you allow this? But then again, school safety is your priority, isn't it? Top priority. A student is expected to avoid conduct that is likely to put the student or others at risk. Avoid conduct that is likely to put the student or others at risk. Touch me and see what happens. 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 I, I mean, I'm still going to say fist to fist. Really, you live to see another day for the most part. Majority of the time, about 90%. I can say all the time. That's not a guarantee because, stuff can happen. You know, shiznits can happen. So, but really, fist to fist, you live to see another day. Your ego may be hurt, but you live to see another day. Avoid conduct that is likely to put the student or others at risk. Do not take a knife to a school event. Do not take a knife to school. It is against school rules. Follow all behavior standards in this handbook and the student code of conduct or set by district employees. Help secure the campus by keeping all exterior doors closed, latched, and locked unless the door is actively monitored by the district employee. Follow instructions from teachers and other district employees regarding classroom doors. Remain alert to any safety hazards such as intruders on campus or threats made by any person toward a student or staff member, because that's you, and promptly report any incidents to a district employee. How about a stab to the chest? Okay, no emergency evacuation routes and signals. Follow immediately the instructions of teachers, bus drivers, and other district employees who are overseeing the welfare of the students. Wow. So let's go on because there's more. I mean, because it's listed throughout this whole time. Safety, 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 safety is a priority. But is it really? Is it really? Library, school sponsored field trips, or district property. No. Stupid dog. Stop flying by me. Of course, they could be. He's an athlete. He could be drug tested anytime. Pretty much. Standardized testing. Okay, so here we go. Buses and other school vehicles. The district makes school buses transportation available to all students living 2 or more miles from school and to any students who are experiencing homelessness. This service is provided at no cost to students. Bus routes and stops will be designated annually to enhance student safety. Again, student safety. I mean, while maximizing vehicle efficiency. Route and stop information is posted on the district website prior to the start of the school each year. During the school year, any changes to the stop location or times will be communicated to parents and students via email prior to implementation. For the safety of the driver and all passengers, students must board and exit district vehicles only at authorized stops. Students may only utilize their assigned stop. No bus hopping is permitted. Duh. Okay. When riding in district vehicles, students are held to behavioral standards established in this handbook and the student code of conduct. Video and audio recording devices are used to monitor safety on all district buses. Students must adhere to the driver's directives at all times. Bus drivers are authorized to assign seats at any time for any reason. I know that one. Remain seated at all times and face the front of the bus. If the school bus is equipped with seatbelts, students are required to wear them properly. Nothing may be extended outside the windows or in the aisles at any time. Not possess or use any form of tobacco, nicotine, or e-cigarette in any district vehicle. Sports equipment, skateboards, and color guard props must be contained in a duffel bag or backpack and out of view. Golf clubs and color guard flags or poles are not permitted. Be seated while the vehicle is moving. Once the bus has their doors shut and starts to roll away from the bus stop or bus lane, the driver will not stop to load late students. For a complete list of bus safety regulations, visit the school website. Follow any school rules. Misconduct will be punished in accordance with the school conduct. Okay. Um, Parents may not board, and I know there's part where I don't know if it's in the school student conduct where they're not even supposed to be transporting any kind of weapon. I'm just saying. But anyway, not authorized person. So that is pretty much it. I mean, we already know what you can and cannot have on campus, so there was no need to really go over that. But yep. So now let's stop sharing that. So yes, again, they talk about student safety throughout this whole thing. And here, oops. I'm coming, Papa. Okay, so now let's go ahead. Give me one. Okay, so now I'm going to share this because this is the school of conduct. So we just went over the school handbook, all the things that he can and cannot do, or he should be um, penalized from the school, this code of conduct. So here we are. School rules and the district's authority to administer discipline apply whenever the interest of the district is involved, on or off school grounds, in conjunction with or independent of classes and school sponsored activities. The district has disciplinary authority over a student during the regular school day while the student is traveling on district transportation, bus, at any school related activity, regardless of time or location. So basically, track meet or any related misconduct regardless of time or location. When retaliation against a school employee, board member, or volunteer occurs, is threatened regardless of time or location. When a student engages in cyberbullying, as defined by Education Code 37.0832, when criminal mischief is committed on or off school property or at school related events, criminal mischief, for certain offense committed within 300 feet of school property as measured from any point of the school's real property boundary line, for certain offenses committed while on school property or while attending a school sponsored or school related activity of another district in Texas, when the student commits a felony as provided by Education Code 37.006 or 37.0081, and when the student is required to register as a offender. Let me make this a little bit bigger. Presents. Ah, hold on, let me stop sharing. There we go. Okay, now let me share. Okay, that's why. Okay, so participation might include. Okay, I think I moved the thing. Just says unauthorized, just talking student standards for student conduct. Each student expected to. So, each student is expected to demonstrate courtesy even when others do not. So, does not state because these guys were douches, you could pull a knife out and stab them. This completely states the opposite. Demonstrate courtesy even when others do not. Again, because we are focused on safety and the safety of others, aren't we? Isn't that what this is all about? Demonstrate courtesy even when others do not. Behave in a responsible manner. Again, this does not mean pull out a knife and stab somebody. Exercise self discipline. Attend all classes regularly and on time, and he hasn't been. Bring appropriate materials and assignments to class. Meet district and campus standards of grooming and dress. Obey all campus and classroom rules. Do not bring a knife on campus. But then again, Respect the rights and privilege of students, teachers, and others district and staff volunteers. They have the right to tell you to leave their tent. They were in every right to tell you to leave their tent. Respect the property of others, including district property and facilities. Again, you took a knife to a district facility. Cooperate with the assist the school staff in maintaining safety, order, and discipline. Again, safety, 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 safety. Hefty, hefty, hefty. No, I'm just joking. Okay, so cooperate with the and assist the school staff in maintaining safety, order, and discipline. Adhere to the requirements of the student code conduct. General conduct violations. The categories of conduct below are prohibited at school in vehicles owned or operated by the district and at all school related activities, but the list does not include the most severe offenses. In the subsequent sections of out of school suspension on page 14, DAEP placement on page 15, placement and or expulsion for certain offenses on page 21, and expulsion on page 24. Those offenses that require or permit specific consequences are listed. Any offenses, however, may be severe enough to result in removal from the regular education setting as detailed on page 13. Disregard for authority. Students shall not fail to comply with directives given by school personnel, leave school grounds or school sponsored activities without permission, disobey rules for conduct in district vehicles, refuse to accept discipline or consequences assigned by a teacher or principal, fail to cooperate with, I mean, I mean, I don't know if he's refused any consequences before, but by looking at the parents, they're obviously trying to refuse these kind of consequences for his child for stabbing Austin Metcalf. But let's just continue. Failed to cooperate with or be forthcoming in an investigation conducted by school personnel. Mistreatment of others. Students shall not use profanity or vulgar language or make obscene gestures, fight or scuffy for assault CDAP placement, or so basically fight assault, another word, another definition, another term, a synonym for fight, I guess. Threaten a district student, touch me and see what happens, because Austin Metcalf was a district student. He was the same district, is from another school. Employee or volunteer, including off school property, if the conduct causes a substantial disruption to the educational environment. I believe that caused a massive disruption. Engage in bullying, cyberbullying, harassment, or making hit lists. Release or threaten to release intimate visuals material of a minor. Okay, we're not getting into that. We're not getting into that because that's not what this is about. Okay, okay. Engage in inappropriate verbal, physical, or sexual conduct directed toward another person, including district student, employee, or volunteer. Okay. Record the voice or image of, okay, property offenses, possession of prohibited items. So these are prohibited items. Prohibited items. Students shall not possess or use, because remember, we're trying to keep this place safe, 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 safe. So, students shall not possess or use fireworks of any kind, smoke or stink bombs, or any other pyrotechnic device. A razor, box cutter, chain, or any other object used in a way that threatens or inflicts bodily injury to another person. A look-alike weapon, that is intended to be used as a weapon or could reasonably be perceived as a weapon. So no fake, no water guns, guys. Don't even know those. Yeah, just don't even do it. Um, an air gun or BB gun, ammunition. I mean, you don't even gotta have the gun. You just gotta have the ammunition. You just can't have it. Like a hand instrument. Okay, so yeah, a hand instrument designed to cut or stab another by being thrown, and a firearm, silence or suppressor, a location restricted knife, a club, a firearm, a stun gun, knuckles, a pocket knife, or any other small knife. I'm not sure what they consider small, but and so see, this is what made me upset with Dr. Umar too, saying that it's okay because the law allows you to carry, such and such thing. But the fact is that there's a school conduct that just doesn't even that's like going to the law saying like you're allowed to carry firearms into buildings, but you go into a store and they say no firearms, so they have the entire to say that we don't want firearms or any kind of arms or weapons on our property. So therefore, he was still against. They have the right to file that he was like, no, you broke the rules. There should be consequences. You are not allowed to have a pocket knife or any other small knife, regardless. And then you were transporting it on a school bus. Didn't we see that earlier? You couldn't transport, or we're gonna get into it. You can't transport things like that on a school bus. And then you took it to district facilities, not just the school facility. It's not a school. It's not just a school campus. You took it to a district facility where multiple schools were at, and you put people's life. And so not just Austin Metcalf's. You put Hunters. You put the rest of the teams. Students' life in danger. Like where do y'all not get that? He did not keep this place safe. You cannot keep this place safe. You cannot allow this child to come back. So why are we allowing him to graduate? Why are we allowing him to be at home and be able to walk outside, and talk to his neighbors and whatnot and still be around society? Exactly. Exactly. Absolutely sick, Esther. Yes. And welcome, Esther. Welcome, 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 and welcome. And Valerie, welcome. No shame whatsoever. Yes, like this district needs to be like take responsibility for some type of action. And if something was to happen again, this is a total lawsuit because they are claiming in their student handbook and their code of conduct that they're all about safety. All these rules and regulations are put into place to keep these kids safe in a learning in an educational environment. And yet Carmelo Anthony has broken every rule that that breaks that safety, and yet he has no consequence whatsoever besides the fact that he's on house arrest, and that is and he's basically fighting a case for it. Well, he should be fighting a case first of all, but he should continue to live the rest of his life any old way until this case is done. Like no, no, this is, in all my opinion, like there's not going to be an innocent verdict. So why are we worrying about you graduating right now? We need to worry about you getting what you need taken care of while you're on the inside, and you can finish your education on the inside. So anyway, pocket knife, okay, mace, pepper spray, you know, other kind of material, tobacco, nicotine products, e-cigarette, matches lighter, a laser pointer, unless it's approved use. You can't even take, I mean, obviously we all know why, but still, a laser pointer, can I bring in a laser pointer for my thing? Yes, but no, you can't. Like, unless you get approval. And that's what they were saying. Like, I mean, we already knew that the police report said it was night, but at some point, Anthony's, um, you know, I guess supporters were stating that it was a cleat tool or whatever, for his track shoes and stuff like that. But either way, that still needs to be approved. And it whatever if he did, unless it's approved otherwise. I mean, that goes for anything. Like, if you can't have, like, any articles not generally considered to be weapons, like a cleat tool, including school supplies, when the principal or designee determines that a danger exists. For weapons and firearms, see DEP placement and or expulsion for certain offenses on page number, it doesn't state, that's funny. In many circumstances, possession of these items is punishable by mandatory expulsion under federal or state law. So, but apparently what he did isn't. So let's see, misuse, safety, temptation, miscellaneous offenses. So, miscellaneous offenses, students shall not violate dress and grooming standards communicated in the student handbook, engage in academic dishonesty as defined in Frisco ISD student handbook, gamble, falsify records, passes, or other school related documents, engage in actions or demonstrations that substantially disrupt or materially interfere with school activities. I think that was a major interruption and disruption. Repeated it violate other communicated campus or classroom standards of conduct, exhibit or threaten to exhibit a firearm. The district may impose campus classroom rules in addition to those found in the code of conduct. These rules may be posted in classroom or given to the classroom. So again, so there's a chain of command. Teachers can make their own rules and regulations. You go to the principal. Principal has you have the school. The school has the district. The district has, the city. The city has the state. The state has the federal. So it's like, where in all these laws does it say that everything that he did is not criminal or not punishable in any means? The act that he did is very punishable in some way or another, some aspect or another. Let's see. I did pass one. Okay. Want to go misconduct. Out of school suspension, misconduct, students may be suspended for behavior listed in the code of conduct. But suspension, you can only really, I think, what does it say, for 3 days? Yeah, you can't be suspended for more than 3 days, school days, per behavior violation as such violations. But I see several violations here. So I'm like 3, 6, 9, 10, 12, 3, 6, 12, 15. Let's keep going, Um, I'll count every one of those little hash marks that I said he did as one violation. I'm telling you, like, no. In deciding whether to order out of school suspension, the administration shall take into consideration self defense, intent or lack of intent at the time of the student engaged in the conduct, the student's disciplinary history, a disability of the substantially impaired. So, if the kid is disabled or some type of mentally disabled in some way or capacity, a student status of the conservatorship of the dependent, a student status of homelessness. So, apparently, homelessness lets you gives you a little leeway to some of the crime too, apparently. But well, that's a different subject. Disciplinary alternative. Okay. So the DAEP's disciplinary alternative education program placement is provided in setting other than the student's regular classroom, and elementary school student may not be placed in a DAP with a student who is not an elementary student. So you can't miss high school with elementary. Duh. Hey, Gilbert. The whole family of Griffiths should be ashamed of their son. Yeah, yeah, it's a money grab. I think this whole thing is a money grab. I mean, yeah, I mean, he hasn't shown any remorse or anything. Like, I think the only person that's ever really I heard say I don't even think says sorry was the mom, and I think that's the only thing. I think the only thing, the closest thing to she said was sorry was like I feel for what you're going through or something, or something like that in those words. But I don't think I ever heard any of their family members ever apologize to the Metcalf family for the incident, even as a father to father, mother to father, as parent to parent, like, because if you really think about it, the roles easily could have been switched, and the shoe could have been on the other foot, kind of thing. And you know, you would want some kind of sympathy and empathy for, at least the family, and like at least some kind of recognition that your son did wrong. Your son did wrong. And there's no way you can fix or go back into time and did what he did, undid what he did. Um, Mandatory placement, misconduct that requires DAP placement. A student must be placed in DAP if the student engages in conduct relating to a false alarm or report, including a bomb threat or terroristic threat involving a public school, commits the following offenses on school property within 300 feet of the school property as measured from the point of the school's real property boundary line, or while attending a school sponsored or school related activity on or off school property. So it engages in conduct punishable as a felony, commits an assault under Penal Code 22.01, sells, gives, or delivers to another person or possession, uses or under, okay, so that's a controlled substance. We're not gonna worry about that. Another controlled substance, sells, gives, or delivers. Okay, so behaves in a manner that contains the elements of an offense relating to abusable volatile chemicals, sells, gives, or delivers to another person or possesses or uses e-cigarette, behaves in a manner that contains the elements of an offense or public lewdness of indecent exposure, engage in conduct that contains the elements of an offense of harassment against an employee under the penal code, engages in expellable conduct and is 6 to 9 years of age, commits a federal firearm violation in younger than 6 years of age. Ooh, that's sad. Engages in conduct that contains the elements of offense retaining retaliation against any school employee or volunteer on or off school property, engages in conduct punishable as aggravated robbery or a felony listed under the Title 5 of the Penal Code when the conduct occurs off school property and not as a school sponsored or school related event. So, again, even if he wasn't at a school event or on school property, I mean, of course, it's not aggravated robbery, but felony. Now, I don't know if it's a specific felony because now the school district is only listing certain types of felonies as punishable to be either suspended or expulsion. So, I mean, the student receives deferred prosecution, a court or jury finds that the student has engaged in delinquent conduct, or the superintendent or designee has a reasonable belief that the student engaged in the conduct. I mean, the superintendent or designee has a reasonable belief that the student engaged in the conduct. So, yes, they do believe because he confessed to it. So, anyway, keep on going. So, do, 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 do. So this section includes two categories. Okay, he's not an offender. Certain felony, regardless of whether placement or expulsion is required or permitted by one of the reasons in the DAP placement or expulsion sections in accordance with the Education Code 37.0081. A student may be expelled and placed in either DAEP or JJAEP if the board or appropriate administrator makes certain findings that the following circumstances exist in relation to aggravated robbery or a felony offense under the Title 5 of the Penal Code. The student must have received deferred prosecution for conduct. of aggravated robbery. Well, God, what is it with robbery? Like they're just worried about their property, aren't they? That's what it is. The school's only worried about their property. Well, of course, a Title Five felony offense, but I don't think they consider that of a felony offense in their definition. The district may expect student and order placement under these circumstances, regardless of the day. Okay, yeah, that is great. Expulsion. In deciding whether to order expulsion, regardless of whether the action is mandatory or discretionary, the appropriate minister shall take into consideration self defense, intent or lack of intent at the time of the student engaged in the conduct. So he had intent. He was very intentful. I'm gonna make my own words up. He was intented, intentful, intenting. He was all that. I'm telling you, I will make up my own lingo just to get my point across. The student's disciplinary history, which by all means, even from that one girl's statement where he was known as a fighter. He was known as a fighter. So, a disability that substantially impairs the student's capacity to appreciate the wrongfulness of the student's conduct. A student's status of conservatorship. Okay. A student's status is homeless. Okay. Again, discretionary expulsion misconduct that may result in expulsion. Some of the following types of misconduct may result in mandatory placement in a DAP, whether or not the student is expelled. A student may be expelled for engaging in bullying that encourages a student to commit or attempt, you know, um, to commit to take their own life, inciting violence against a student through group bullying, releasing or threatening to release intimate visual material of a minor or student who is 18 years of age or older without the student's consent, conduct the conduct that contains the elements of assault under Penal Code 2201 in retaliation against a school employee or volunteer, criminal mischief, if punishable as a felony, engaging in conduct that contains the elements of one of the following offenses against another student: aggravated assault, S assaults, aggravated S assaults, murder, capital murder, criminal attempt to commit murder or capital murder, aggravated. Okay, okay, so this a student may be expelled. So he may be expelled. Welcome, welcome, Mike Jones. Welcome, welcome, Laced Up Souls. Welcome, welcome, everybody. So again, engaging in conduct, and this is under discretionary expulsion. So you may be expelled if you're engaging in conduct that contains the elements of one of the following offense against another student: aggravated assault, S assault, S assault, murder, capital murder, criminal intent to commit capital murder, and aggravated robbery. So, a court, again, this is discretionary. So, the superintendent has every authority to continue his expulsion just by this, just because of this. And that was at any location. So now, at a school within 300 feet or at a school event, a student may be expelled for committing any of the following offense on or within 300 feet of school property as measured from any point of the school's real property borderline or while attending a school sponsored or school related activity on or brief on or off school property. So selling or giving, delivering, okay, narcotics, selling, giving, or delivering, okay, material. Engaging in conduct that contains the elements of an offense relating to abusable volatile chemicals. Engaging in conduct conduct that contains the elements of assault under Penal Code 22.01 against an employee or a volunteer engaging in deadly conduct. They're not specific on what deadly conduct is, but I'm assuming taking somebody's life is definitely deadly conduct. So that should be students may be expelled. Yep, maybe you should. You should. Okay, within 300 feet of school. A student may be expelled for engaging in the following conduct while within 300 feet of school property as measured from any point of the school's real property borderline. Aggravated assault, S assault, or aggravated S assault, arson, murder, or criminal attempt to commit murder or capital murder, indecency with the minor, aggravated taking of a child, manslaughter, criminally negligent homicide, aggravated robbery. Again, they're just worried about their property, aren't they? Continuous. Okay, we're not going to see that one. Felony control substance. Okay, selling, giving narcotics, unlawfully carrying on, or okay, unlawfully carrying on or about the student's person a handgun or a location restricted knife, as these terms are defined by the state law. So, possessing, manufacturing, transporting, repairing, or selling prohibited weapon as defined by state law, and possession of firearm as defined by federal law. Now, those are all what they can be. They may. They may. They were at their discretion. That's at their discretion. Now, this is mandatory expulsion. So, this is regardless of whatever happens. Like, a student may be expelled committing any offense in the state mandated expelled offense if this offense is committed on the property of another district in Texas or while the student is attending a school sponsored or school related activity of a school in another district in Texas while he's in DAP. Okay, mandatory expulsion, misconduct that requires expulsion. A student must be expelled under federal state law for any of the following offenses that occur on school property or while attending a school sponsored or school related activity on or off school property under federal law. Bringing to school or possessing at school, including any stealing that is under the district's control of supervision for the purpose of school activity, a firearm as defined by federal law. No, mandatory expulsion under the Federal Gun Free School Act does not apply to a firearm that is lawfully stored inside a locked vehicle or to firearms used in activities approved of the author. So if they're going to, I don't think any school has a gun shooting show, but that's basically what they're saying. Under Penal Code, unlawfully carrying on or about the student's person the following in the manner prohibited by Penal Code 46.02. A handgun defined by state law as any firearm designed, made, or adapted to be used as a firearm. Okay, so I am assuming one of those guns that you can put together yourself. Yes, privilege is very real. Yes, because they do. I know, and I think that's how it is. I don't think any of those people want to lose their car connection. I really think Dad has a really good. He gets his a lot of his business from the school and from all these superintendents and board of trustees and things like that, and that's how they get it. Hi, welcome, Damien. Welcome, Damien. I hope not. I mean, he's still in. Ultimately, he's still a kid, and I can't. That I can't. I mean, I don't know when his exact birthday is, but I know he's getting ready to turn 18. So, but it's hilarious. I hope not. So, being in there is bad enough. Let's not wish anything worse upon him. But whatever happens, happens, and unfortunately, that is a possibility of what can happen. And I'm assuming that's what his parents don't want for him. But it's gonna be whatever. Oh, well, here, and it says under the penal code, unlawfully carrying on or about a student's person the following in the manner of prohibited: a handgun defined as a state law firearm designed by, made or adapted to be used with with one hand. No, a student may not be expelled solely on the basis of the student's use, exhibition, or possession of a firearm that occurs at an approved target range facility that is not located on a school campus, while participating in preparing for a school sponsored shooting sports competition or a shooting sports educational activity that is sponsored or supported by the Parks and Wildlife Department or shooting sports um, sanctioning organization working with the department. Again, under the penal code, these are mandatory expulsions. So, a location restricted knife, as defined by state law, possessing, manufacturing, transporting, repairing, or selling prohibited weapon, as defined by state law, behaving in a manner that contains elements of the following offenses under the penal code: aggravated assault, sexual assault, aggravated assault, arson, murder, capital murder, criminal attempt to commit capital murder, indecency with a minor, aggravated taking of a child, aggravated robbery, manslaughter, criminal negligent, continuous sexual abuse of a young child. Okay, behavior punishable felony that involves selling, giving, or delivering to another person, possessing, using, or being the influence of a controlled substance. Okay, engaging in retaliation against an assault. Okay, so mandatory expulsion. So a student must be expelled under the federal or state law for any of the following offenses that occur on school property or while. So maybe I'm not understanding something because I mean I'm pretty sure murder, capital murder, criminal attempt to commit capital murder, murder or capital murder kind of covers the whole, and manslaughter kind of covers the whole whatever Carmelo Anthony did, right? Or am I tripping? Because he had to have done one of these. So why isn't he on it? So the process, the student is believed to have committed an expellable offense. The appropriate administrator shall schedule a hearing with a reasonable time. The students. So then they still got to go through this whole process. Board review of expulsion. So then the board has to review, which is what they did. 'Cause remember, that's how superintendent got the review back. And before ordering an expulsion, the board appropriate administrator shall take into consideration self-defense, intent of lack of. But see, the thing is that there was no. He didn't even know. Like, no. When you gotta ask, is this a self-defense? And that's not self-defense. And self-defense is really, really, really hard to, because the intent only takes a second. Like you saying, touch me and see what happens, that already is considered intense. That you're already intending to do something if this person touches you. And the student's disciplinary history, we already know he's a fighter. He's known as a fighter. A student's status in the conservatorship. Okay, so I mean, length of expulsion, like who really cares? He should just be expelled, right? We have all these restrictions during expelled students are prohibited from being on school grounds or attending school sponsored. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, he can't even leave his house. So how is he supposed to go to any kind of like event or schooling? So again, that is from the code of conduct, and from the student handbook, the code of conduct, like all this is gearing towards safety, and nobody's holding them accountable, holding him accountable. Nobody's holding the parents accountable for their child on his actions. Like I could have sworn, like I should have looked that up before I got on, but I could have sworn, wasn't there a case where the parents got convicted as well because of what the child did? I think the child also in that case committed some kind of murder or something like that, and the parents went down for it as well. So I was like, we need to start holding these parents accountable because this was a stay-at-home mom. How do you not know what your child is taking to school? Like I'm telling you, as soon as the teacher said like my kid is bringing toys to school, like no, homie, like I am checking your backpack every day because I'm not trying to get because they're calling me. First of all, I ain't trying to get in trouble for you. First of all, so let's get that straight. If anything, they should get you should have gotten in trouble for taking the toy to school and then let me know like hey your child brought it to school but don't come tell me like hey you know this is this and you're just supposed to like I know like okay she snuck it out but now I know to check my kid's backpack every day before leaving the house. So if your child has already a history of doing something, wouldn't you be more attentive and aware of what your child is doing and more alert? Family sure got the treatment with a new house and car from what I heard but I don't yes. um Yes, and welcome, welcome, God. Like, yes. So that's yes, I did do. I have done several videos, and that was one of them. They did that fundraising on that Go Send Me or Go Me yeah Send Me Go or that website, and they did raise close to 500,000. If not, it's already more. I haven't checked since I've done that either, and Carmelo Anthony's dad and the fundraising site came out and stated that they did were going to use the some of the money fundraising money not just for legal services and but they were needing it to for a new house and it was basically for security reasons. So that's kind of the reason they're getting off. They're trying to say it's not just because they wanted a new house, they needed it. They're the reasoning for that new house and it's a lot of money. I think it's like they're paying $3,000 a month or whatever for that house. It's it's a lot. So I think it's close to a $500,000 house. It's a nice house, and but they're saying that they were needing it for security reasons because they were receiving threats and things like that. That's why they have NGAN as their security detail because again they feel like their lives are at risk, things like that. Uh, in my thing, I just think that's baloney, but they can say it's for security. I never seen anybody else who's been in this type of situation get security houses of and luxury cars and things like that. And even before all this, they were already living pretty well off. Like I was showing pictures earlier. You could see the house in the background. Carmelo Anthony got a new Lexus for his birthday. The mom just about a couple of years ago got a new GMC, but again, like I was saying, the dad is also a very well car dealership, a floor manager, salesman. So, of course, he's probably getting these cars for good deals and whatnot. But at the same time, he's probably also getting commissions from some of the. I wouldn't be surprised if some of the district have gone to him for their cars, trying to get good deals as well as he gets the commission off of those. You see what I'm saying? So it's a big old circle where the money keeps going in. They were taking lavishes. They took several vacations before this incident happened to where they went to I don't know if it's Disney World or Disneyland. It was one of those Mickey places, and Virgin. I think they took a Virgin Voyage cruise and things like that. So he was talking about spending $2,000 on a bottle of wine, and so they did already have established a lavish lifestyle prior to all this, and then just to know that they just kind of ante upped one more with using and I have a feeling the parents are actually using this as well, using their sons this their son's this unfortunate situation and is really banking on it and NGAN is also hopping in on this thing because we all know just reading the police reports just looking at basic evidence and the words coming out of Carmelo's mouth himself is there's no doubt that he did not do this. So it's just a matter of what the punishment is going to be. And is he going to even have any punishment? Because so far he hasn't had any consequence or punishment for his actions. and even his parents are not doing it. So NGAN is also banking off of this because they're applying that security detail, and the security detail that they have on their website is not even licensed. So they're not even legally supposed to be providing security detail. So again, all money, and that's where some of this fundraising money is going to providing security detail for the Carmelo Anthony's family. So all these people, all this money, it's just so unfortunate that these people who put, I mean, and I'm sure a lot of these people only really donated towards this foundations because they're really gearing the fact of it's a race thing, and going through this and going through Carmelo's action and taking the color off, what he did was wrong, and that's the that's what it all comes down to. His actions were wrong, and actions deserve consequences. I mean, you do the crime, you do the time. Like, I'm sorry, he did a crime. He did a crime. There was no self-defense there, even though they're trying to argue self-defense. There was none there. They and I know that they're saying that they have over so many 30 something witnesses from staffs, kids, e- other members there. So I mean, there is just, and then NGAN, for them being such an advocate, what are they really advocating for? Just for the fact that he is black. I mean, you cannot believe that this person is innocent of their actions. So what are you really advocating for? You're advocating for them because it's a known case, you're getting recognition, and you're getting money, point blank. And everything you're doing is almost illegal because that's why you got pushed off of the GoFundMe fundraiser because they didn't want to be a part of what y'all guys are doing. Even the other cats there, I mean, because the only reason the GoFundMe allowed the fundraising is because you stated it was legal funds, and then all of a sudden it became not legal, and you had to quickly reword the situation, and they weren't happy with that. But what's done was done. They allowed that door to open. They opened the door, and they got stuck in that door. So unfortunately, that GoSendMe is going to be a part of that issue, and whatnot. But I know that they were supposed to start refunding some of that money as well. So I don't know how all that's going to work either. I don't know if that was really true. If they really were going to start sending some of those refunds out. But I wouldn't be surprised if some people did ask for some type of refund. Is that the one that they're asking for now? The fund now that he's turning 18 because he needs protection in prison. There was the mention that they were getting ready to ask for more money since he's turning 18. So I it could be. Um, but again, I just kind of wanted to go over that with the whole NGAN and the whole fundraising money and their background. Like I said, they're claiming that they're providing security, but they don't even have legal security, and like, that's illegal in itself. Like how are you're claiming to be a minister, but you're doing illegal activities. Minister, illegal activities that don't go together. So, and then you want to go, and this is all from NGAN, from Sarah Fields on the X. She did a deep dive on them, and she went in on their background and everything, and she's really on it. So I just wanted to go deeper into the student code of conduct and why he wasn't getting any kind of consequences for his actions, and everything. All this just is just one messed up situation, and I feel so bad for Austin Metcalf and Hunter and Jeff Metcalf and the entire family. They are getting the short, like, no, like they should not feel like this kid should be out on the he should not even be in his house enjoying fresh air right now. He should be breathing in rat piss air. I'm sorry. That's what he should be breathing in right now. Not fresh, clean, uh who sitting at home eating popcorn on Madden all day long, whatever. But again, I just wanted to bring this information to you guys, make everybody aware of what's going on, and see see how this case plays out because there's so I again, the superintendent is going to get a big backlash on this, and I just hope he's prepared because he's already talking about the internet's doing this and the internet that, blah 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 blah. But I'm I just think he really should have just stayed neutral, just kept the expulsion, just saying, you know what, we're not saying you're not graduating at all. We're just saying you're not graduating at this time. Like, what's wrong with that? Like, it kind of puts the piece on both sides. Like, I mean, I don't know. He handled that very wrong. I'm just saying. Again, thank you for being here. I am going to go. That is my time. I've already been on about 2 hours. So, again, if you like, please like, subscribe, and share this video. It has a lot of information. Again, May 25th is National Missing Children's Day. Um, we have been honoring that all month long. I am trying to get I should be on again tonight to do a video in regards to a missing child. I'm getting all that information ready. I just don't know what time yet, but it will kind of be on the late side. So, but if you can catch it tonight, definitely catch it on the replay. Um, but we did Vivid Lifestyle. That is my organization. We did team up with the National Center of Missing and Exploited Children, and we are doing a fundraiser with them. The link has been at the top this entire time. I should do this one. Can you see it? Okay. I'm very good at this. So givedownmissingkids.org. That is my website with the National Center of Missing and Exploited Children. Um, if you want to happen to donate to my organization, please go to the link space website that is in the description of this video and on my on my channel as well. And if you have any information in regards to a missing child, please report it to your local authorities. If you don't trust your local authorities, we all understand. Please call the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children at 1-800-843-5678. Again, that is 1-800 the lost. Again, it's very important. We need to start bringing these children home. Okay. So everybody have a good day. I'll see you later and pinkies up.